pretty intimidating, especially if you're starting a new job search. Here to help us deal with our fears and make connections that will pay off is career coach Sarah Vermunt. Hi, Sarah. This is such a good topic. I remember being in university and thinking, oh, I'm not going to network. I've done very well in school and I feel like I should be just judged on my merit. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
You have to talk to people.
Yeah.
And then it can be cringy, to use a word my 10-year-old uses. It can be cringy. So why do people hate networking?
For a couple of reasons. So I did a little Instagram poll a couple of weeks ago, and 93% of people said they hated networking. That means only 7% of people like it, and even then, I'm not even sure if they were like telling the truth, because most people hate it. And I think we hate it because sometimes it feels like fake and shallow and forced. So that's one reason people hate it. Another reason some people hate it is if you're introverted, I'm raising my hand here.
Yes.
It feels a bit overwhelming to network, at least in a traditional sense. Like, I'm one of those chicks that you'll find over by the food table, hanging out with the other introverts, kind of not talking to people at a large event. So it can feel a little bit overwhelming.
Right.
And also sometimes you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I don't think people necessarily hate all forms of networking. I think we tend to hate the work in a room full of people, forced, shallow kind.
Yeah, and it feels fake. It doesn't feel genuine. It feels like I'm literally just here to make contacts for me to get ahead.
Yeah.
So there's something very shallow about it.
Yeah.
There is more than one way to network, you say. So we need to start expanding our horizons when it comes to network. How else can we be networking?
So if you are someone who feels cringy around networking, try not to go to those like general networking events, the ones that are like just meeting people for the sake of meeting people. It's much better to maybe go to some sort of like professional development event that you will actually enjoy. There's a topic you're actually interested in, because you then have a chance of connecting with people who have similar interests as you.
Okay.
So I would say be strategic about what sort of events you decide to go to.
Right.
Now, if you're not an event networker, you don't have to go to those things at all. There's other ways to network. So for example, just starting a conversation with someone at the elevator is networking. Inviting a colleague for lunch is networking. Putting down your phone and asking someone about their work when you're at a conference is networking. So for those of us who are wired for a little more intimacy and we don't like large groups, you can network one-on-one with people. Informational interviews are also a really wonderful way to network. And if you're not sure what informational interviews are, basically it's just asking someone out for coffee so that you can learn about their experience in the industry.
Okay. All right, that's good. So expand what you're doing in terms of networking. You're saying you don't want to come across as desperate. There's a bit of a desperate vibe at a lot of these networking conferences.
I find at a lot of networking events, there is a desperate vibe, because it almost seems like everyone is just there to meet other people and sort of work the room, and so none of the contacts are actually good because everybody's kind of trying to use each other in a weird way.
And they're
Don't
doing
go to
that
those events
where you're in a conversation and they're looking over your shoulder at somebody. They're looking for someone better to network with.
I know.
That makes you feel great, right?
Know. But you know what? I'm sure we've all been guilty of doing the same, because we're looking for an escape route from someone who we don't really want to be talking to.
Too.
You know, you sort of pretend you see someone you know across the room, and you're like, I'm so sorry, I have to go.
How do I get out of here? Your eyes start getting shifty. I just do the, oh, I just have to use the ladies' room. I do that, or oh, I'm just gonna go get a drink. And if I do that to you, I'm not trying to avoid you.
Our secrets are out now.
Right. I just put them out there on Front Street. Okay, let's talk about some networking tips, because I love this idea of quality over quantity. You're not trying to get a billion phone numbers.
No, I think really 1 or 2 great connections is better than 10 kind of crappy, shallow connections. So don't feel like you have to talk to everyone in the room. Go ahead and just talk to someone who you feel more of a natural connection with, and then you'll be able to have a deeper conversation with them that might actually be lasting. You ever go to a conference or a networking event and you come home with a stack of business cards because someone like shoved one in your face and you didn't want to be rude and say no, and you just end up throwing them in the garbage? Not good networking. So just a few people is better than a bunch.
Okay, you say put down your phone.
Put down the phone, people. And I am guilty of this. Our phones are kind of like a social security blanket. Even if you're just waiting for the elevator or like waiting for a meeting or something, I know my automatic response is just to whip out my phone and do something, which means that I'm not connecting with the people around me. So if you want to actually connect with people, just put your phone down occasionally, especially if you're like at a conference and you're there to meet people. Maybe you're sitting at a table with people that you don't actually know. Put down your phone and just talk to a couple of people.
That's right. Get into that awkward space and just live in it and sit in it and deal with it. And you say ask questions. So my question to you was, what do you say when you're networking? Ask someone about themselves. You don't have to talk about yourself right away.
We're all really nervous about networking because we think we have to talk about ourselves, and that feels kind of smarmy sometimes. So actually a really wonderful way to network is to ask people about themselves. It takes the pressure off.